They've surely won the FA Cup. For Dave Whelan, for Roberto Martinez. You just cannot write scripts like this.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Pickett, she lays it off to Rhianna Pollicina. It's an absolute peach. Ayres driving. What a hit from Melina Ayres. Wow. And Sam Kerr has a hat-trick. Meet him up,
1-0. We're back. We took a break. We're back. Radio Dub on FNR. I'm your host, Pokuah Frimpong. As always, my amazing co-host, Josh Parrish, is here with me. Josh, it was weird to not have the show last week. I wasn't feeling the best, but now we're back.
And you made me come in on a public holiday.
That's fine. We here at Radio Dub, we work hard, yeah? We don't take days off. Well, I did, but we don't really, unless it's needed.
Pokuah here is like a Lannister. She always pays her debts, and we were in debt by a week.
Exactly.
We had to cancel the show. Bit of a migraine, shaking it off over Christmas, and we're back for Radio Dub to catch up on all those games we missed. It's just as well we're back because a lot happened.
A lot has happened.
In the
and I will say
women's.
that's the only time I'll ever be being referenced to as a Lannister because I'm a Stark through and through, yeah, okay? A lot has happened. We had some good football this weekend, but we had some great football last weekend. Kind of a little bit of a flow-on effect. Some teams kept the same intensity from those past 2 weeks, and one of those teams was Melbourne City. Comfortable 3-1 victory over Adelaide 2 weeks ago, and then this weekend, Hannah Wilkinson decided, you know what? I want these records in the dub. I'm a champion, and she put 5 past a lackluster Melbourne's victory side.
Oh my goodness. Record equaling.
Yes.
It was a record I didn't know belonged to Kate Gill until
I didn't know that either.
Taya referenced it on the call. But also equaled the overall A-League's record. So, of course, that's still in the men's comp. Yeah. Archie Thompson, 5 goals in the grand final.
And she's the fastest hat-trick from start of a game. Obviously, Sam Kerr's got the record for, I think it was like 7 minutes. She scored a hat-trick. But from a start of a game, Hannah Wilkinson is the fastest, which is a great record as well to have.
It's interesting. Strikers and confidence. It seems like the dam has broken for Hannah Wilkinson in a massive way.
Exactly. Like there was definitely a few people asking questions at the start of the season, going, "She's playing okay, but she's not. She hasn't been as explosive as we initially thought she would be coming into this season." But she put those 2 past Adelaide, and ever since then, which I know it's only 2 weeks, but 5 goals it's no small feat.
No slouch in front of goal. She just gives Melbourne City this target presence up top, and with 2 playmakers surrounding her that really complement each other. Holly McNamara with the speed and the dribbling, and Rhianna Pollicina, who we're going to speak to in a few minutes, with the technique and the precision passing. It's a nice formula that City have got going for them. But honestly, this game said more about victory than it did about Melbourne City for me.
Now, Josh, see, if people don't follow you on Twitter, you watched the game on delay, and then you had a few things to say on your Twitter thread, which I agreed with most of the points you did put out there. Do you want to reiterate it to some people who haven't seen it?
Yeah, so I was not watching this one live, so I knew the result going into it. So it was a bit of a diagnostic process, watching it on delay and knowing the ridiculous scoreline that was about to unfold. Of course, 5-1 it finished. And, the centre-back issue is glaring. I don't think it is really treading any new ground to say that Kayla Morrison... her absence looms large, not only given her qualities and her aerial dominance, but also her leadership and the way that she pushes the other players in tough situations. When the going gets tough, you want Kayla Morrison on the field to coach the rest of the players through the situation. And without her there wearing the armband, it's a tough one for Victory. You know, the first 3 goals, I mean, Casey Dumont had a nightmare. Tiff Eliadis had a nightmare, placement centre half. It's not really her natural position, so you can't really blame her. But every time City pumped a long ball vaguely in the direction of Victory's backline and just descended into blind panic. The first 2 goals come from mistakes on long balls. Yep. The third more obviously than the first. So 2 of the first 3 goals, sorry. But the first was, you know, a second ball, a header that wasn't cleared far enough and just dropped straight to City's front 3, and they just slid past through quickly and goal. As Hannah Wilkinson was in lethal form that day. And the other goal is, of course, the Casey Dumont mistake where she clears it straight into a City play, into Holly McNamara, who actually picked up the assist for that block, as she should do. And the pressing from City was very good all day. But that's a glaring problem. The other thing is, there's no pressure release valve in central midfield for Victory at the moment.
Now, that central midfield, they have a lot of talent. That is a thing about Victory. They have a lot of talent. They're really great players. But I don't think that Jeff Hopkins currently knows the best, like the formation for that midfield, because I'm looking at it and at times they aren't pressing, and there's a massive exposure for that defence. And that defence, without Kayla and that leadership, there seems to be a lack of cohesion about, I need to cover this player and I need to do this. And I think some of the goalkeeping errors, I think if Kayla Morrison was there, I think she gives the call and that's comfortably in the goalkeeper's hands, and we're not having these little mistakes that kind of veteran presence of her kind of sorts out, unfortunately. Yeah,
she's very confident on the ball as well, and I don't think Victory have been able to play out from the back as confidently without her there. I think you're hinting at that. Annalie Alongo is a player who didn't re-sign for Victory this season, despite being a key member of the championship-winning team last time out. And she's decided to go home to New Zealand and take up a plum job with the football admin side of things, and probably affecting the country and the football in a more positive way than she would possibly do as one player on the pitch. But it's just a shame to see a player at 30 essentially going to semi-retirement from football, certainly not professional football. She's not playing anymore, when she still has plenty of good years left in her. And without her always offering for the ball off the centre-backs, Amy Jackson looks a little bit lost and is put under all sorts of pressure by opposition teams.
Yeah, for me, I think that Chidiac might need to go a little bit further back in defence, because I think she's best when she's picking up the ball and initiating that attack. Because with her being so far forward with Kyra Cooney-Cross up there, they look very exposed, and they're not. Sometimes watching Kyra, it looks as if she's not a player who goes on the front foot. Sometimes she's a little bit reactive, and if they're not picking up the ball like from the back, she's kind of inefficient and not really effective at all for them. But you know what? They happened last season. They lost to Brisbane. They got absolutely destroyed by Brisbane last year, and they recovered and they moved on. And that's what Jeff said after the press conference, during the press conference. So hopefully they can move on from this.
Yeah, I think Chidiac was the one player who emerged without much blame attached to her. Certainly in the first 20 minutes, she was running the game really, and the rest of her teammates didn't step up to her standard. But we've got to get to our first guest. Before we do, 2 more points. Alana Murphy looked very good off the bench.
Yeah, I thought she should have come on a little bit earlier. That was one of
very young but very composed, and she got rave reviews off her teammates based on her training performances in pre-season, so maybe she should be pushing for a start. You mentioned the option of moving Chidiac deeper so that she can initiate the play and offer for the ball from the centre halves. I think that's a good move. I'm not sure where Amy Jackson fits into the picture at the moment, because she's just being targeted every time she gets it, and she was responsible for some of those bad turnovers that City then countered from. And the other thing is, Catherine Zimmerman, while she's lethal in front of goal, she doesn't offer the same threat in the build-up as Melina Ayres would. So I'm not sure what's happening with Melina Ayres and her injury.
She's still recovering from their injury. I think they've just been a little bit cautious. That's what Jeff said in Joey's piece. So we'll give them, they are still the defending champions. And Jeff Hopkins is an amazing manager, and I think he will sort it out. But there are some warning signs early, especially this inability to keep a clean sheet without Kayla Morrison. But Josh, we're going to head to a break. when we come back from the break, we've got Melbourne City forward Rhianna Pollicina. I'm going to clarify how you say her last name because I don't want to get it wrong.
This might be a bit of an Orazio fantasy situation.
We'll see.
How does your grandma say it? That's the question.
Exactly.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website, dkpco.com.au, or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
With this great sporting nation who has yet to embrace fully the world's greatest game, and for so long of trying to have the game accepted. And when I'm up to the big football field in the sky, I just want people just to remember I told you so.
And suddenly the complexion of the game changes. Let's hope it doesn't, but this is the best period for Iran in the match. Danger for Australia here, the flag's down! It's an equaliser!
You just feel for them, not just the boys, they are representative of so many people who make this game their life. It's just, I can't say anything.
Especially as they have the impetus. Aloisi, Cahill, Tim Cahill has done it again! What a goal by Tim Cahill! 2-1 Australia! It's a wonderful moment in Kaiserslautern. And Tim Cahill has come off the bench and maybe won the match for the Socceroos.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website, dkpco.com.au, or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Pickett, she lays it off to Rhianna Pollicina. It's an absolute peach. Is driving. What a hit from the leader is. Wow. And Sam Kerr has a hat-trick. Miedemar, 1-0.
And we're back here on Radio Dub on FNR Football Nation Radio. Josh Parrish and Pokuah Frimpong with you, and we are delighted to be joined now by one of the breakout stars of the season, Melbourne City playmaker Rhianna Pollicina. Welcome to FNR.
Thank you so much for having me.
take us through your wonder goal. We have to rewind a week now, but against Adelaide United, just teed that one up to curl it into top bins. How did that feel to announce yourself to the Melbourne City fans?
Look, it was definitely good to get on the score sheet. Lucky for me, it was a banger. But, yeah, we can't take the credit away from Wilkie last week scoring 5 goals. So I feel like my goal's been forgotten now, and it's moved on to Wilkie with her incredible 5 goals in the last game.
Well, let's not forget about it straight away, because you have a bit of a track record of scoring spectacular goals. I'm reading here that you actually scored the goal of the tournament at an international futsal tournament.
Yeah, I did. So to be fair, I kind of miss in the 18-yard box. So most of my goals are scored outside the 18-yard box.
So are you saying that basically you prefer outside the box, absolute screamer, as opposed to simple tap in? And is that the type of goal you're after?
Yeah, I prefer a screamer rather than a one-on-one, because one-on-ones I'm terrible.
I will say though, this futsal goal, I feel like we're understating it, Josh, because we saw it. It was a beautiful knuckle. It turned. The goalkeeper had
from halfway, if you don't mind.
The goalkeeper had no idea what was going on. They were like, I didn't sign up for this. I'm not trying to get embarrassed.
Move one way and then the other against Russia back in 2017. And you established yourself as a bit of a futsal star in New South Wales. Had a long absence from the W League, as it was then known, the A-League women now. But back last season to be player of the season on your return for Newcastle Jets. Tell us about that journey and coming back to the outdoor game.
Yeah, so I made my Wanderers debut when I was younger, at 17, and then kind of fell a bit out of love with the game, and then started playing futsal. Absolutely loved that. And then it wasn't until last year during COVID where I worked really hard and I went back into NPL Sydney and got picked up by Ash for a trial at Jets, and then fell in love with it again. And fortunate enough, had a really good season there, and credit to Ash for giving me the opportunity at Newcastle. And then made my way to Melbourne City. So when I got the call from Rado, I was absolutely stoked. What
is it? I'm assuming, obviously, as a kid, you grew up loving football and playing football, most weekends. What does it feel like to fall out of love with something that you've loved throughout your entire childhood and is a really big part of your personality?
Yeah, it was definitely hard. And obviously your parents put so much time and effort into it as well. So it was pretty shattering for them. But I was exposed to so much football as a younger kid, which took over a lot of things in my life. And yeah, like when you get setbacks as well, you kind of have those struggling moments. But I didn't fall in love with it fully. I was still playing outdoor in the NPL, and then just picked up futsal, which I loved. And then I'm fortunate enough to have found my love for it again and be where I am today.
How did it feel coming back to the Jets after that long absence and getting a look in once again, and then really establishing yourself as a cornerstone of that team last year?
Yeah, it felt really good. I didn't expect to be a starting player at all. When I went to the trials, I was like pushing for a spot and working hard. And then when I got the call up to say I got my contract, I was so excited. And then I was just a squad player, and I worked really hard in pre-season, performed in pre-season games, and then became a starting player and a 90-minute player for the Jets. So, yeah, it felt amazing and just pretty much proved the hard work that I put in during COVID and the support that I had around me in my NPL season to push me to be a better player. So I was playing with the likes of Georgie Emmendale, Princess Abini, all those players who pushed me and made me want to get better. So, yeah, that's how I got the call up. And, yeah, I was definitely excited to get the call up for Jets.
I mean, it's quite a story, really. And going from that to now catching the eye of Rado Vidicic at probably the league's most storied football program at Melbourne City. I mean, what's your experience been like of the club so far?
Oh, I'm absolutely loving it. The standard, the team, the coaching staff, from whether it be our physio to Rado, is just, it's next to none. Like, the professionalism of the club is amazing. And yeah, like I can't, there's no words to explain how lucky I am to be a part of Melbourne City. And definitely the team is just absolutely amazing. And you can see on the weekend how close together we are as a group, and on and off the field, we just want to work for each other. And yeah, I'm definitely glad I've picked the right move.
See, looking at Melbourne City last year, they were in a bit of a transition, a really young squad that didn't have really high expectations because of how young the squad was. This year, you've got a lot of experienced players that have come into the side. What was the expectations that Rado set for the team, and you yourself set for yourself going into this season?
I suppose Rado pretty much just said it's all about effort. And then having those experienced players like your Checkers, like your Stoddies, your Wilkies coming in, they've just been great. Like, we've got a really young team, and from our youngest to our oldest, there's no, it's all equal. No one puts themselves above anyone else. So we've got Bubs, who's 42, and our youngest is 16, which is Caitlin. And Bubs will take anyone under her wing with someone of her experience, and it's the same as Checker, it's the same as Stoddy. So it's all like, we've all treat each other equally, and Rado said that everything's about effort. And as you can see on the field, all we do is seem to put in effort, and the results are starting to show. And that's what's our main focus is this year.
What I'm starting to notice over the last couple of games is that chemistry with the front three really, really developing with yourself, Holly McNamara and Hannah Wilkinson. And you seem to have qualities that complement one another. You're all very different players, but I think that helps.
Yeah, for sure. If you have been watching, like, you can see us three, we're completely different players. Like, I'm not a runner at all, and I like the ball. Like, I'll work in defence, and I'm not quick off the ball. So Holly McNamara is super fast, and then Wilkie's a great finisher. So we all balance each other out. But I feel like everything comes from our press, and you can't press with just three players. It's the other 8 players behind you. So together on the field, it's just everyone, the chemistry is amazing. So, and it's fortunate that our starting lineup hasn't changed as yet. So it's been 4 games to build that chemistry. But yeah, like, there's another 8 players on the field that involves the front 3 to press. And then we're getting the good service as well. So it's a credit to everyone on the pitch.
One of the things that I've been really impressed with watching City this year is how, like, the spine of the team is so succinct, and the ball flows so effortlessly from the back line to the front. Like, you guys have changed. Sometimes you change your tactics up, but it's always quite consistent. Having Stoddy in your midfield has seemed to really settle and balance the side. What's it been like to play with her?
Oh, it's been absolutely amazing. She's not only a good person to play with on the field, but she's also someone that you look up to off the field as well. Just what she's been through is absolutely amazing. And yeah, to play with someone like her is incredible. And as you've seen, like, her in the middle, she brings so much experience. And you look at our spine, you've got Checker, you've got Stoddy, then you've got Leah Davidson next to her, who's an absolute workhorse. And then you've got Hannah Wilkinson up front, and then all us little players behind in the sides. So it's been incredible, and our spine is definitely an awesome balance for the team. But playing with Stoddy has been incredible.
What about the rivalry with Melbourne Victory? You get to see a lot of each other, especially over the first few weeks of the season with the conference system. But last season, and it seems weird to ask you about this because you weren't there last year, but last season there was an early game at CB Smith Reserve that I think everybody remembers at City, which was, a real thumping at the hands of Victory. And you got your own back over the weekend. Was there, amongst any of the players who were there last season, a bit of a revenge motivation to keep piling on the goals over the weekend?
Oh, of course. There's always a rivalry in a derby, to be honest. But yeah, I feel like round 2, they were lucky to get away with a 2-1 win. And I feel like this weekend we just wanted to take revenge and let the competition know that we're here to play. And I feel like us going into the competition, people didn't have high standards for us. And I think this last weekend definitely proved that we're here. We're here to play. It's not last year's Melbourne City. It's a new Melbourne City, and we're going to fight for that top spot. We're going to fight to be the champions at the end of the year.
You weren't at the game, Josh, but sitting in the press box and we had the windows open, I could hear Melissa Barbieri telling the team, do not let them come back into the game. Do not let them score again like the game, previously. What's it like to have her, giving that motivation, but also being, guys, we are good enough to win, and we are not going to let those actions from the past happen again?
Yeah, Bubs is amazing. You can see she's so passionate. On the field, she gives every instruction she can. Even if she's never played striker before, she'll tell your striker what to do. She'll tell your midfield what to do, but she's someone that you definitely want to have on your team, not against you. And you just feel so safe when you got someone like Bubs in goals. But yeah, at halftime, she was giving us all a lecture saying, it's not over yet. We've got to keep fighting. We were 1-0 up in the first game. Don't give up. We can't concede. Unfortunately, we did, but we still got 2 goals in the second half, which was too much to come back from.
Do you know what I love about hearing that? Is that she's telling strikers what to do. She must be a great, a little bit of a trash talker to the opponents. She would have been like, I can score that. What are you doing? And she's never played strike before. And she's not one of the tallest goalkeepers as well. So for her to have that kind of personality, I'm massive. I love it.
I think the sheer volume of her voice makes her appear bigger than she actually is when strikers are bearing down on goal. She's a big character. It's all good fun to have her still kicking around in this league. She's got so much experience under her belt.
Yeah, for sure. She's definitely a good one to have on your team. She's like the mum of the team, but she's absolutely amazing.
Oh, no, you go, Josh.
Well, I was just going to say strange times we're living in, and you actually had to have your team talk out on the pitch at halftime due to sort of COVID precautions because there was a positive test. How are you managing this situation as a group? Because there's a lot of uncertainty for everybody at the moment.
Yeah, we're still uncertain on what's going on. We've been sent for PCR tests, so we're still waiting for all those results. And yeah, until everyone in the team gets those results, then we won't know what's happening. But also good so far. I'm hoping to get out of ISO soon, as soon as we get the results, and back training.
So not much of a Christmas then? Just training and working
well, we
hard
definitely
and
had a Christmas. Yeah, that's it. We're training on Christmas Day, and then we had a nice Christmas lunch. But we definitely had some fun over Christmas. But yeah, just playing board games and stuff like that.
See, this is the second time I've heard about these board games at Melbourne City, because we had Chelsea Blissett on earlier, and she was talking about how you guys play Uno,
Monopoly Deal.
Monopoly Deal. Is that game still going around? Who are you? Are you the winner of that game? How's that working?
Oh, there's a few winners because we play so often. But yeah, we're definitely still playing Monopoly Deal. We play. We have some trivia nights. We go to bingo sometimes. So we're still bonding on and off the field. So it's absolutely great living with your teammates as well.
Who's the most competitive one in the board games, and who's the one who's always forgetting the rules and doing the wrong thing?
I definitely got to think Holly McNamara is the most competitive at anything. And Tori Tumeth, she's definitely competitive. And the one that always forgets the rules is Letitia McKenna. She just doesn't know what's happening most of the time.
The Holly McNamara doesn't surprise me, because seeing Holly McNamara play, she is running all the time. We'll never see her stop running. She'll lose the ball and just chase.
Yeah, she's like a whippet.
It's quite impressive, and that's what I love about the front three of City. But one of the questions we love to ask on this show is, there's some people don't know a lot about A-League women footballers who is a player in the City squad or even outside the City squad that people should be looking out for the rest of the season?
If you're looking internally, I definitely think Leah Davidson is one to watch out for. Her hard work in midfield definitely doesn't go unnoticed by us teammates. But outside the competition, or outside City, there's some young ones coming through Wellington. I'm not too sure of the names, but there's definitely some young ones there, and one to watch out for.
We let's put people on the spot. Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
It happens every time.
I can't even think of players at the moment.
It's all right. You know what?
Let me get back. Yeah.
It's all right. Next time we have you on, you will have plenty of players for us.
So coming up against your former team on the 2nd of January, should all go well with those PCR tests. We really hope the game goes ahead.
Exactly.
But what's the priority for City in this game? Because we saw that high press really come to fruition against Victory. Is it the same game plan again?
Yeah, for sure. We're never going to take that away from our game. So that's one thing that is a non-negotiable for us, is definitely that press. And the minute we lose the ball is how quick can we win it back, because the longer we have the ball, the less tired and the less running we have to do. So, yeah, press is our non-negotiable, and, yeah, that effort is just constantly something that Rado expects of us. And, yeah, there's going to be no different on the weekend, that's for sure.
Well, we'll let you go. Rhianna, thank you so much for joining us here on Radio Dub. Fantastic start to the season from you and your team. So we're looking forward to seeing what you can conjure up for the rest of the year.
I want to see another screamer, though. That's like, if that's the type of goal she scores, I want to see at least 3 more of that. And I've also waiting to have Emma Checker score, because I did tell her that I think she's going to score a goal. So I'm still waiting on that as well.
Well, keep having cracks from outside the box, because every highlight that you provide is more coverage for this wonderful league. You put it on the front page, so keep doing what you're doing. We love it.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
That's right.
We'll go to a break here on Radio Dub. We've got another special guest on the other side, this time coming from South Australia, Adelaide United's fullback, Paige Hayward.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Pickett, she lays it off to Rhianna Pollicina. It's an absolute peach. Is driving. What a hit from Melina Reyes. Wow. And Sam Kerr has a hat-trick.
And we're back on Radio Dub on FNR. As I'm your host, Pure Friend Plong, and with me as always, Josh. That was a good guest. We had Rhianna Pollicina from Melbourne City on, but now we have another great guest from South Australia, Paige Hayward. Paige, good to have you on the show. How are you?
Good, thanks. Thank you for having me.
Now, Paige, you guys have got a little bit of time off Adelaide because you guys didn't play this weekend, and you've got a little bit of a break. What are you doing in that break?
Yeah, pretty much just like one of my friends came over, so spending some time with her, training, getting refocused for our upcoming match against Perth. And I think our focus is like pretty much play our game and moving forward. And now we have some off time, which has been good to recuperate and get ready to go for this next part of the season.
So if people haven't seen you play before, you've been playing right fullback most of the season, but I noticed you've got the number 9 on your back. So do you always play right back?
I have been this season, but no, usually I've been moved around. So originally was a centre mid, then I went to the wing, and I sometimes do play a number 9.
There you go. So utility player, always useful for a coach to have. How are you finding the new role at fullback? Because you're certainly getting forward plenty, I notice.
It's a little bit different. At first, that's one position that I hadn't played up until the last week. And the girls around me also gave me the support, which helped a lot. And they were like, just do what you do defensively and make sure you get up. So it's different, but it also gives me a little bit more opportunity because I don't have a 1v1 battle. I usually have some space ahead of me, which is good. And it lets me know of how I need to play because usually I'm in front of the fullback. So now I'm in the reverse role.
See, Paige, before we even get, into the football, your accent, it's a bit of everywhere. Now I'm trying to place it, but I'm not good at placing accents. Can you give us a little bit of background on it?
Okay, well, I went to the US and in Texas. I was there for like 7 years. Also been in Austria for about 6 months. So I think it's just a mix. And then mum and dad go, no, you need to lose the accent. So I think it's a bit of Australian as well.
It's everywhere, but I appreciate it and I love it. You spoke about your time in the US, in Texas. What was that like? What was it like playing over college football over there?
I loved it. Like, I've learned so much. Just the experience of going overseas. US is more physical. So going to the gym, skills-wise, you're out training like twice a day, almost every day. So I think it was a bit different, but I love the experience. Would go back anytime and do it again.
So that's why I'm not a professional athlete, Josh. Training 2 times a day. I'm taking 2 naps a day. Come on. No way.
Well, tell us about how you ended up going over to the US in the first place, how the opportunity presented itself to you and what you made of the experience, not only on the pitch, but just lifestyle-wise.
When I was younger, I had played representative soccer. So I was with RPR, Inter, all those teams, and always playing up a few grades, but wasn't really being seen. So I was like, well, I think I need a different opportunity, a change if nothing's happening. So told my mom, came home one day actually and told mom, I go, I want to go to college. And she goes, what do you mean? And I go, well, I want to go overseas and play and study. And she goes, okay, well, how do we do it? I said, just take me to the embassy in the city. And she's like, okay, I can do that. And then they pretty much told me just email coaches and reach out. And that's exactly what I did. And then my parents were like, okay, well, you need a full ride. If not, you're not going to go to try to keep me. And I was like, okay, well, this is going to be hard, but did it. Kept reaching out to coaches. Eventually, one gave me a full ride to University of Texas in Brownsville. And I was like, okay, I'm going. And they were like, no, you're not. And I was like, yes, I am. Do you want to speak to the coach? And then every year I would take it, okay, 1 year at a time. If I don't like it, I could come home. And then it just kept going. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to come home in 2019. And then they called me and were like, oh, can you come back? Okay, yes. So then it just kept happening.
That's amazing.
That's a wild story.
I wouldn't, the determination to email to the points, okay, to tell your parents, we're going to the embassy, and your parents are like, sure, let's go. My parents are like, have you lost your mind? What do you mean you're going to the embassy? What are we doing at the embassy? Yeah, we look like a bunch of strays. But you've managed to go to the embassy. They told you where to go. You followed through, and that's quite impressive to have that level of determination. Is that something that plays into the way you play football as well?
I think so. Like, my parents put me in when I was 4, and I was like, I don't want to play this. I want to play rugby league. And they're like, well, you're not going to play rugby league, because I have 2 brothers that played rugby league. So you stay with this or you find something else. And I was like, okay, well, I'll stay with this and be good at it.
Yeah.
Oh, just as well then.
Exactly. Playing in the A-League Women's.
Good call.
I feel like it's all worked out, hasn't it, Josh?
Seems like it. So did you get to pursue much study amid all that training over in the US? What did you end up specialising in?
Yeah, so I have a Bachelor of Science in Dietetics, so as a dietitian.
Nice. So you always lecturing your teammates on what they should and shouldn't be eating, or you keep that to yourself?
Sometimes, well, most of the time they ask me, or look at what I'm eating and think, oh, well, I need to change what I'm eating. And I go, what I like, you might not like. So I'm not too worried about what they eat.
How do you pick to be a dietitian? Like, it's not typical, specialty. You see a lot of college students, pick like media degrees and stuff like that. How did the dietitian path find you?
I think when I was younger, my parents were like, you're like obsessed with food. And I was like, wow, I actually am. So, and like what I ate and what I would do and different things like that. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm actually passionate about it. So then that's how I got into it.
I feel like we need to do one of those sort of magazine supplement pieces of Paige Hayward's day on a plate. What's the most interesting sort of fad superfood that you've embraced? Or do you not pay attention to all those goji berries and things?
I don't, but I do like the dark chocolate, like acai blueberry chocolates.
Okay.
And they're like my go-to.
That actually sounds pretty good. I'm on board.
I had like one of the, like I had quinoa salad, Josh, and I felt so good about myself. I said, I am on a path. Yeah, I'm a new woman in 2022. Quinoa salads all the way. That's where I'm going.
Now we just need the Chinese restaurant downstairs to start closing earlier so we can't veg out after this show. Paige, tell us about Adelaide United and how that opportunity came up, because, you've gone the roundabout route to playing back home in Australia.
Yeah, so I went to Austria earlier in the year, went back to the US, and with COVID and everything, I was sort of like, I've been away from home a year and a half, maybe even more, almost 2 years. So I was like, I think I'm ready to go home. So I got an agent, FNX Sports, and then within a few days, I had signed with Adelaide with him.
Easy.
That easy.
Yeah, it worked out really, really fast. And I had already met Stens. So that was in 2019, I had met him. And I was happy with the environment when I came then. And I was just injured. So to come back, I was like, that's great.
What's the team like at Adelaide? Is it, is it a really bubbly team, or is everybody individually focused? Like, what's the team, unity like?
Definitely everyone is bubbly. Like, when we're off the field, we're usually all hanging out and we all get along really well. And I think that's really what drives the team, is that everyone gets along and, okay, let's go to the beach today. Different things, and everyone's included.
That's great. I mean, where does that culture come from? Is it just certain big personalities in the team end up organising that stuff? Is it from the coach? How do you build that chemistry? Because there's a lot of turnover in the A-League Women's League.
I think the core group is the one that organises everything. And then also with the coaching staff, they also implement it and say, like, this is a team environment. It's not about individuals. It's how we work together.
Well, it seems to be beginning to gel. What do you think the team still needs to do this season to really push further up the standings? Because I think some of the football you've played has been quite impressive. Just maybe the results haven't quite come yet.
I think our biggest thing is finishing in the final third. We combine, it's that final pass that we just need to get onto, or our hustling has been great. It's just finishing, getting that ball in the back of the net, I think, is our biggest thing that we need to do.
I think I'd agree with that, because I've seen Adelaide play, I think, twice now against Melbourne Victory and Melbourne City down here. And in both games, the squad is actually quite good and they play really nice football. Maybe the opponents might be a little bit higher and they've been together for a little bit longer, but the football that Adelaide play is quite good. What has been the message from the coaching staff about, after those games that, they haven't gone the way, but you've played some good football?
I think the biggest thing is we start off sometimes slow. So it's starting off when the whistle goes and make sure we're working hard. Everyone knows our roles and that we work hard for the full 90 minutes instead of going in, switching off because we get goals against in like 2 minutes and we'll get 2 goals against. And it's like those important moments when we have to stay focused and move forward with it.
how big an impact do you think Dylan Holmes is going to have on her return? Because she's a player with Matilda's appearances under her belt, and we know she's got an eye for goal. Could that be just the reinforcement you need to start putting the ball in the back of the net?
I hope so. I think she's come in pretty well, and training has been good. Also, just her off-the-ball movement helps so much. So I think she'll come in firing, and it will help our team a lot.
And what about for you? What role do you see yourself playing for the rest of the year? Because you can sort of play anywhere. Are you sometimes a victim of your own versatility that your position seems to change week to week?
Honestly, I don't mind as long as I'm on the field. That's the main thing, and wherever for the team need me. But I would rather up the field a little bit more. But at the same time, I don't really get to choose. So, yeah, having versatility, sometimes you can't settle in one spot. So it's like I was on the left wing the week before, and now I'm on the right back.
If you were to describe your playing style, how would you describe it to somebody who's never, seen it before?
I don't know. Like, I feel like I get the ball and I'll go forward, drive at someone, which I've only got over the past few years. And then I think my fitness is one that I'll battle you no matter what, and I'll be physical with you. It's the sort of game that I'll play.
She's got the nutritional advantage as well. So that's the key factor. This is a bit of a self-indulgent question, but we both do a bit of NPL Victoria stuff. I've done a bit of commentary for the Women's League, and I was very heartened to see the amount of NPLW Victoria players being given an opportunity, and a couple of them have gone to Adelaide this year. Rhianna Pollicina, who had a chance with South Melbourne and then immediately jumped up to the A-League, and also Leah Varley, who's big prospect at centre-back. How have those two players adapted to the professional environment?
I think they've adapted really well. Coming in, like every training session, they give everything. Rhianna, as a centre mid, I think she's a bit dangerous, and I like getting the ball because she has a lot of vision and so smart. Leah comes in hard every single time, and literally you know that she's going to run through someone and get the ball and go. Also dangerous with beating players. Yeah,
she's sort of surprisingly good on the ball for, a player of her size and physicality. She sort of takes you by surprise, doesn't it?
Yeah, she's very agile, and you get the ball to her, she'll do a couple of moves and get around you. I think she's got around me a couple of times, and I'm like, now I'm going to push to get it back.
Well, you come up against Perth Glory on New Year's Day. What's the message there? What's the game plan? What do you need to improve on? Obviously, the finishing is one thing, but to get a win on the board on home soil, what do you think is the priority in this one?
I think we need to start fast. Go out from the first whistle and play till the end. The main thing is wanting to win in our head from the start to the end.
Did you guys have predetermined goals that you'd set out for the season? Was it making the finals? Or was it more just about like the style of play that you really wanted to have perfected by the end of the season?
I think our biggest goal was take it week by week, win one game at a time. Don't think too far ahead, one game at a time, win our 1v1 battles and win on the field sort of thing. Don't think about the next game.
Well, shall we go with the customary question then, Pokuah? Because we're trying to educate here at Radio Dub. We ask all of our player guests to name one player either from your own team or from another team that you've maybe played against. This is hard for you because you haven't been here that long, but one player to keep an eye on, one player that you think's flying under the radar a little bit, because we want to educate. We want people to know the up and coming talents in this competition. So who's stood out to you so far across the league?
Can I say our team? No, I don't know. Yeah, I think everyone in our team works hard pretty much, and I think it's going to be the ones that you don't expect that will come in, and our subs always have an impact. Is the biggest thing. But one play, I don't know if I can pinpoint someone.
Maybe you can cheat and say yourself. That's fine. You can say yourself.
No, she'll be starting. She wasn't talking about her. Well, Paige, thank you so much for joining us here on Radio Dub. Enjoy the rest of your time off that you've had and your recuperation, and get ready for that game on New Year's Day against Perth Glory. We can't wait to see what you come up with.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. Thank you for having me.
That's right.
Absolute pleasure. Paige Hayward joining us here on Radio Dub. We'll go to a final break, and we've got a Sydney derby to review on the other side.
Exactly.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Ronaldinho gathers speed, past Ramos. Elguera comes to meet him. He goes past Elguera. Ronaldinho at his very best. Unstoppable.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Maloney takes, and it's in! It's Ben Watson! It's Ben Watson for Wigan Athletic! They've surely won the FA Cup! For Dave Whelan, for Roberto Martinez! You just cannot write scripts like this!
Pickett, she lays it off to Rhianna Pollicina. It's an absolute peach. Is driving. What a hit from the leader is. Wow.
And Sam Kerr has a hat-trick.
Miedemar,
1-0. Josh, you stopped for a second, so I didn't realise.
The chemistry. We've had a week off, but the chemistry's all out of whack. We saved it for the back half.
That was me. That was me.
You're too busy dancing to the
I
theme
was.
tune.
I got distracted.
Well, Sydney Derby. We've talked about the Melbourne Derby.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I probably have more thoughts. I
don't want us to sound Melbourne
biased.
biased, so we've got to talk about other teams.
Yeah, fair enough. There is another league out there outside of Victoria.
Unfortunately.
Outside of our little parochial lands. Sydney FC 0, Western Sydney Wanderers 0. Mackenzie Hawkesby, will the ball ever go in the net for her? I felt so sorry for her.
Josh.
It was just...
Not only has she been one of my favourite guests we've had on the show, but she's actually been one of my favourite players to watch this year so far because I think she's been playing such amazing football. She's been a real great link-up player for that Sydney side, and that's the reason they've scored a lot of goals early. But unfortunately for her, the ball just will not go in the back of the net, and I don't understand why, because she had some really great chances over the weekend.
She absolutely did. I mean, they completely dominated the opening half hour against Western Sydney, as you might have expected they would. Big favourites this season, Sydney FC. Probably one of the big three, you would say, in the title race.
My pick to win the league this year.
Yeah, so, big expectations and a Wanderers side that's been really out of sorts in recent times, or recent years rather, but they put up a good fight in the second half. I thought they did a lot more. It got a little frenetic towards the end of the game.
Now, I don't want to diminish how well Western Sydney Wanderers played in the second half. But I will say, the last 15 to 20 minutes watching Sydney play, I was quite frustrated at multiple points. Because at times, it seemed as if they forgot some of the basics that have got them to be one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league. Some long-range passes in the midfield, trying to do a cross-field cut to Princess Abini and it not reaching the target when there was a player across from you could have passed to and, could have done a slower build-up. It was at times it looked like Sydney were rushing, and I think it maybe came down to the fact that they didn't have Remy playing yesterday, that they were just a little bit anxious to score a goal and, go forward. But they have so many great attacking players that I just felt if they were calmer at stages, they would have scored and they would have comfortably put the Western Sydney side away.
There was one incident in this match, I should say, that really got tongues wagging and
Just got whiplash just
the keystrokes, the impressions, social media metrics off the charts.
Yes.
For this Sheridan Gallagher challenge. Oof.
This is why I have short hair.
Yeah. I was going to say, how would you react if someone pulled you by the ponytail?
We wouldn't be having a friendly exchange. That's what I would be saying, Josh, because when I have my other hair, if somebody pulls my hair, I might lose some hair. And if I lose some hair, we'll be having some words. But it was a spiteful challenge.
Should have been a red card. I don't know if it's in the laws of the game that you can't pull someone's ponytail, but I think it's probably an unwritten rule.
The pull was it's a fierce pull. It was no little tug at all. It wasn't friendly, that's for sure.
No, she decked it. Honestly, that's dangerous. It's not just about, not just dangerous to her follicles, but like you could get a neck injury, whiplash from that.
Yes.
It would really hurt.
Yeah, it would.
You're moving at speed and someone, that's like a takedown move from Mortal Kombat.
For me, I think it's a red. That's just me. Just because I don't personally like getting my hair pulled.
100%.
I think it's
so blatant.
I will say, I don't think the ref had a great game either, because heading down to the end, there are some challenges that occurred for Sydney, and the ref, I can't remember exactly which Sydney player went down, but the ref went down as well in the space of 10 seconds, and because I think she got distracted that she'd fallen, she'd forgot that there was a foul that had just occurred, and I was like, sorry, are we watching the same game
Probably
here?
just embarrassed and lost concentration.
But going back to Sydney, they're a great team, and I really enjoy watching them play. I think they are the most fluid team that I see, and they give me the least concern because it was another clean sheet for them. Defensively, they're very structured and very well done. I just think that they're a side that I'm a little afraid that last year they lost Vine heading into the finals, and it really kind of derailed them from, I think probably they might have been the better team last year. I'm a little bit nervous as to if they're losing Remy now, if they lose a big player, will they be able to overcome, particularly with the Western Sydney team that aren't amazing. They're a bit of a nothing team at the moment. They might get better, but just right now when we look at them, they're not exciting to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're pretty pedestrian.
Yeah.
They work hard, but it's a bit blunt up front. I think if Briley Henry can find her shooting boots, they will be a different proposition. She gets into good positions.
She does.
She's very fast, and she gets goal side a lot. But there was one great save from Jada Wyman. I do think a cannier finisher could have squeezed that into the near post and gone low instead of attempting the little chip. But easy to say, as the armchair critic. For Sydney FC, Remy Seamson, I think, is a reassuring presence up front because she is so clinical and she has a lot of experience under her belt compared to some of the younger players they've got in that final third. Maybe Courtney Vine has to take more responsibility on for the goal scoring in her absence.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Rojas, as good as she is technically, is that out-and-out number 9.
Yeah.
I think she's more of a winger. So I don't think they really have a proper backup for Remy Seamson.
Which is concerning.
And dub squads aren't that deep because it's not a long season, so you don't usually need that deep depth. But if she goes to the Asian Cup, then where does that leave them?
I will say that a player who I think maybe could have done a little bit more was Princess Abini. There was a moment late on in the game, and she'd done this really great run in the box, and it was quite late on. I think it was in extra, like the injury time. She'd got in the box, and they'd really pressed, and they came very close to scoring. And then the ball went out, and I believe she threw it in, but she didn't continue playing. She kind of stood and watched the play continue without her, and Sydney went back and had a few more attempts at goal, but she kind of watched it, and I thought if she, got into the game a little bit more, and she was in that moment, she was a little bit more, they might have created a chance and, slotted it away.
I think this is a common trait with Princess Abini's performances is she's got all the talent in the world, but she doesn't always have her head screwed on right. It seems like she's not always that super focused for 90 minutes, and she doesn't seize on some of the half chances and loose balls and opportunities that maybe players who have that kind of blood in the water shark instinct like Remy Seamson does would do. So Princess Abini, I think this is a bit of a tendency of hers to sort of drift in and out of games and not always be that decisive in front of goal when, she's sort of a tantalising player, especially even for national team selectors have wanted her in the Matildas in the past because she's got that ability to beat players one-on-one. But I don't know if she's ever going to develop that, if she's ever going to reach that next level, because it's kind of been a few years with seeing the same sorts of things.
I'll be honest, I believe this in every sport. I think it's one of the hardest things to teach, and I think it's actually, I personally think it's impossible to teach a killer mentality. I think you have to want it in yourself and you have to have it there. I think somebody can enhance it if it's already there, but if you don't have it, you will not, and you cannot teach somebody how to do it.
That's the worry I have, and I hate to say it because she's one of my favourite players in this competition, but coming back to Melbourne Victory, that's the worry I have about Kyra Cooney-Cross. When the going gets tough, does she demand the ball? Is she too timid in games? And that's something that she's going to have to work on because I think sometimes just needs a little bit more self-belief, and I didn't feel that she imposed herself, going back to the other derby, as she could have in that game, and she really was a bit of a pedestrian watching the game go on around her, while someone like Chidiac, for example, was really, for all the world, trying to influence things and make tackles and present for the ball while everything was kind of falling apart around her. I want to see that level of desperation from Abini. I want to see it from Kyra Cooney-Cross as well.
I think something that Ante Jukic said in the press box at the derby this weekend. And
that's Ante Jukic, not Ante Juric, the Sydney coach.
Yes.
Important distinction to make.
Honestly, I actually, before I met Ante, I used to be like, wait, who are we talking about exactly? But he said that at times it looks like Kyra is very reactive as opposed to, being on the front foot, which is quite concerning. If it's particularly if you are in a number 10, and you're even she's not even going to play as a number 6, I see that sometimes. I think she's still a fantastic player. I remember watching her in that first Adelaide game. She when she dribbles really well. One of my actual things about Kyra Cooney-Cross that I want to see more from her is sprints, completed sprints, because I think if we were to track the amount of sprints she does throughout the game, I don't think it's nearly as many as she should, particularly with a player of her pace and her ability to go past people. She sometimes, kind of is a little bit relaxed because she's better than most players. Yeah. She's a little bit calmer on the ball, but sometimes you need that little bit of intensity. Yeah. And I think she does have that intensity because at the game, when they were down, I believe 3-3, might have been 3-0, 3-0. They had a little bit of a huddle in the middle, and she was the first. She was very vocal. She did get the captain's armband later in the game. So
that kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I was very surprised, but I think that it shows that it's in her, and the other players see it around her. I just want to see it for 90 minutes because she's a great player, and she could get herself playing for Melbourne Victory is fantastic. But if she maybe has heights of playing in Europe,
she should have aspirations beyond this.
Yeah,
league.
And playing in Europe, you need to show it for 90 minutes if you want to, follow the footsteps of the Sam Kerrs, the Steph Catleys and the Caitlin Forbes. You've got to have that kind of energy.
Absolutely. And she's got all the potential in the world. That's why we're setting this high bar for her, is because she's got the ability. It's so obvious. And the fact that she was given the captain's armband, as you say, suggests that maybe she does have that in her. She just needs a bit of a confidence boost sometimes.
I think, and I also think that, getting a new player in there with Chidiac, I think they've still got to find their balance. And I don't want to overreact because they are still early in their partnership, and I think it's going to be one of the most lethal partnerships in the league.
If they can make
it click, because they have such unique abilities that can really help fix some of the problems that Victory have at the moment. But, it's a problem for another day, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what Mr. Hopkins has in store to try and restore balance to the Victory team. And recover from this shock result. I mean, Victory had a result last season, even when they won the championship, where against Brisbane Roar, where they shipped 6, I think it was. So sometimes these scorelines happen. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. But I can't wait to see them play next and see what solutions have been worked on. But that's all the time we've got for Radio Dub in 2021.
Exactly. 2022, we're going to be back better. I have a feeling that our first guest for our 2022 show, she was meant to be on today's show, but certain things didn't allow her to be on. But I have a feeling she will be on our first show, and I'm very excited about that.
Just a hint, she runs like
we may have spoken about her today.
Yeah, she never stops running. She never stops moving off the ball, and she's turning heads.
She's one of my favorite players. Somebody we know, Teo, calling for her to potentially get a look into the Matilda.
Well, she doesn't just run. She bolts. Could she be a bolter? We'll have to wait and see. We'll sign off for 2021 here on Radio Dub and FNR as a whole. This is a little catch-up episode to make up for missing last week. We're going to take a break until the 10th of January before we make our triumphant return to the studio. Until then, stay safe. Enjoy your time off if you've got it. Enjoy the football, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Pickett, she lays it off to Rhianna Pollicina. It's an absolute peach. Ayres driving. What a hit from Melina Ayres. Wow.
And Sam Kerr has a hat-trick.
Minamar, 1-0.